Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt and this is Rollsy Resells. I go to charity shops, car boots and flip stuff online for a profit. Normally on a Tuesday you will see me doing a car boot video and what I've picked up from that car boot with GoPro footage. Today's video is going to be a bit different. I bought wholesale for the very first time in my business. I've never bought wholesale before. However, I wanted to give it a go and see how profitable it could be. So I spent £423 in total. There's 30 vintage Disney t-shirts and 25 vintage jumpers, all mixed brands like Adidas, Champion, Nike. I'm hoping they're good as well. So you're £423 with shipping. It works out about £7.60-ish, £7.70 per piece. Hopefully this is good. It's come from Lima Vintage, so fingers crossed this review is good from them. If it's not, I will be sending this back. But let's jump into it and see what we've got. Right then, let's cut this open and see what exactly we have in here. I'm hoping this stuff's going to be good, and if it does need washing it won't be too bad. But okay, so I just cut the box open and here we are, this box full of clothes. This is from Lima Vintage, so here's a little bit of paper here, the information and stuff. So if this review is good and you guys want to get yourself some stuff, then I'm sure I'll give them a little shout out and just say this has come from them to hopefully get some more business. But here we are, this is the start of the box. So as I said, 30 vintage Disney t-shirts, 25 vintage jumpers. I'll start going through it piece by piece and show everything off. I know this might be a bit of a long video and a bit different to what you're used to, but let's hope this box is full of goodies. So this is going to be in no particular order. This is going to be just literally as I pick it up from the very first thing. So as you were seeing in that first clip, there's this really nice vintage Walt Disney World t-shirt on a Mickey ink. So I think these are from the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like a good size, large, extra large. Size large. Is it single stitch? Not single stitch, but that's a really nice t-shirt. £15–20 on that one probably, so double money after fee sort of. That's looking what most t-shirts are going to be. It's the jumpers that are going to be the hitters, but not a bad first t-shirt. Now this is where it might get a little bit bad. We have a tank top. It is Disney, but that's fairly new, so that's not vintage. That looks like it might just be like a print on t-shirt. That sort of printing in there, that stuff is not vintage at all, but that's only the second piece, so we'll have a look and see what else is in here. So next up is this Mickey and Minnie t-shirt. Again, I'm not sure how Disney that is. It says Mickey and Friends on there. It says 10 to 12. There's a woman's size 10 to 12, but is that a pajama top? I can't particularly tell. Not too sure on that one. Again, I'll have to go through all these, review it, and then go from there, really. Next up is this Minnie Mouse t-shirt, which originally came from Goodwill at £6.49. Again, this is not a vintage t-shirt at all. That is a fairly new tag. I'm not sure how old that is, but that doesn't look too old. Maybe like 2020 sort of time. Yeah, that's not vintage. I know I bought vintage t-shirts, but a few of these aren't vintage, so hopefully there's some things that can save this, because at the moment the past 4 t-shirts, only one of them is actually vintage. Next up is something I've never actually seen before. Is a Moschino Mickey Mouse t-shirt. Is this even real? Like, is that tag good? I have no idea. It doesn't look too authentic to me. I think that's all you need to know about that in there. That doesn't look like a real tag. It's made in Turkey on the tag. So that can't actually be sold because that's fake. So I can't sell a rep because I'll get a strike on my account. So that one's a loss. So again, now this t-shirt's nice, but this is, again, not vintage. It looks old, but that is just a standard Mickey Mouse t-shirt. It's Disney Store. I'll give it to that. And you can see there it's Disney Store. But again, that is not old at all. That's printed on the neck. It's not got a tag. Usually when it's printed on the neck, it's fairly recent. So this isn't looking good so far. Now this t-shirt is definitely vintage. That's what I mean. There's a real mix of what they class as vintage and what actually is vintage and brand new stuff or new age stuff. It's Walt Disney tag, Mickey Mouse script, sketch t-shirt sort of thing. It's got Disney World on the sleeve there as well. Size large. See, that's vintage. That's nice. Hopefully the rest of the box is more like this. And here we go again. Another non-vintage t-shirt. That's just a print on t-shirt. And it's in rubbish condition. Look at the back of that one. It's cracked and all the graphics. I'm not too happy so far. I really hope there's some bits in there that save it. Next up is this printed t-shirt from Tokyo Disney. Not entirely sure on the age on this one. Maybe old, maybe new. That's not too bad. I think that's all right, a t-shirt. Again, another t-shirt that's not actually vintage at all is this Mickey Mouse t-shirt. It looks like a Christmas sort of style, but it's not. Disney parks, but again, it's just printed on, so nothing about that is vintage whatsoever. But again, it's not too bad, but it's not vintage. This t-shirt is brand new with tag still. It's this, I can't remember, is that Grumpy, I think? From, is it Snow White and Seven Dwarfs? That's brand new, and it has a price tag on it of $10 from the Disney store. Again, not vintage. It's just print on, so that's not vintage at all. But it's brand new with the tags, so maybe I can get like £10, so not much profit after fees at all on that one. So I don't know how this has made it in. This is not vintage, this is not Disney at all, this is Looney Tunes. And if you open it up inside, this is Love to Lounge, which I'm pretty sure is Primark. So yeah, Primark. So how am I buying a Primark t-shirt for the equivalent of £6? This isn't looking good so far at all, is it really? I think this is going to have to be a return for these Disney t-shirts. We'll get through the rest of them and see what else there is. But I am not very happy with these t-shirts. This is definitely a pyjama top. You can tell by the quality and the style. It's got these little things on the top of it. Again, that's just got a Disney tag on it, but it doesn't look like it's Disney store. What's it say on it? Disney, that's from Sainsbury's. So I've paid £180 for Disney t-shirts. So I've paid £6 for a second-hand Tesco's or Sainsbury's pyjama top. That's ridiculous. That is not vintage Disney. Again, this next thing looks to be some sort of nightie or sleep top. They said grade A. There's definitely pink marks in there that cannot be washed out at all on the face. Yes, it's Mickey and Co, so it's old, and that is a vintage t-shirt. But that just looks like a pyjama top to me. That doesn't look like a top you wear out. This isn't looking good. Again, another pyjama top maybe. It's really long in the body. It's not vintage at all. It's just got a Disney tag on it. And most of these t-shirts that have Disney tags that aren't vintage just say Disney on it, and they're actually like Primark or Tesco's. That has no other branding inside of it. So that is definitely not Disney. This next t-shirt, again, not vintage. Old Navy print on t-shirt. Standard t-shirt, not worth it at all. Again, the next one, not vintage at all. Just a basic print on t-shirt. Disney on the neck, extra large inside. But it's definitely not an extra large men's. And this one, apparently, again, it's sleepwear. It literally says, just there, I don't know where it comes on the camera. Just there on the bottom. Again, what appears to be another pyjama top. This is ridiculous. I'm paying £6.50 a piece almost for literally pyjama tops. It doesn't say it's pyjama top inside. It says 10 to 12 on it, so women's size 10 to 12. And it's literally just over 2 years old, 06/22. That is definitely a pyjama top. That is not worth the price I pay for that one. Again, that's rubbish. Next up, we have this really weird t-shirt jumper sort of thing. I've no idea what it is. This is Have a Nice Day on the back of it with Mickey Mouse. I can't see any branding on it whatsoever. Here we go. Made in China. Cotton and polyester. 2XL. There's no indication as to that being from Disney, let alone being vintage. This really is not looking good. Again, this next one cannot be vintage. This is Uniqlo. Uniqlo's not been around for very long, especially with these collaborations. Uniqlo, Minnie Mouse, the prints all stuck together. This is not looking good. Again, another t-shirt is basic. It's a print on. It's not vintage. That is just a standard print on t-shirt. Is it even from Disney? Again, it's one of these number 14s or letter 14s. Also from 2022, as you can see, just there, if I can have it opens up enough. Not vintage at all. This t-shirt, again, I don't think can be classed as vintage. It looks a bit older maybe, and it is Disney Store official, this one. So at least it is a Disney Store t-shirt. Tags have been cut inside though. Not entirely sure on that one either. Not what I was expecting anyway. Deary me, this one is not good either. A standard print on t-shirt with a Disney tag. It looks to be Primark. It feels like Primark. Am I correct? No. It's for Tesco's. I don't know how well that comes up there. It says designed for F&F stores. F&F, I can't remember the names of the people, but that's Tesco's. So that is not worth it at all. This is genuinely rubbish. A H&M t-shirt for £6. That is not vintage. You can't sell a second-hand t-shirt for like that much on a vintage website and then try and expect me to pay that much and then make a markup on it. It's H&M. It's probably £6 when it came out anyway. This really is not looking good at all. Next up is this Mickey Mouse Christmas t-shirt, which has Bluey on the back of it. I don't think that's meant to be there. That looks like it's just been stuck on by a kid. I'm not sure about that one either. Again, a new age tag. I reckon this is probably going to be the same sort of time as the other ones. 2022, again, as you can see, just there. So not vintage, not worth it at all. Again, another print on t-shirt. Disney, but it's not a Disney one. The print is all stuck together. And if I open it up, it's probably looking like Primark, and it is. Primark right there on the label. I don't know how they're getting away with selling this as vintage when it's literally not even probably older than 3 years. The quality of that is horrendous as well. £6, not worth it. This next one, although it is Disney store, again, not vintage. It's probably not worth the money I paid for it. Right, we're on to the last few t-shirts now. Again, Disney 2X, random Hawaiian floral print. This one's not too bad, but it doesn't look as good as quality as the other ones either. This really is, I think, a bad purchase. I think other than that first t-shirt that I pulled out, all of these are going back. I've got 3 t-shirts left. Let's see what they're like. Disney Minnie Mouse t-shirt, pocket tee, long sleeve, feels like a jumper, pyjama sort of top. No tags on the inside, but it doesn't look to be of any good quality at all. It just says Disney made in China. So maybe that is Disney, but that's not worth it. Again, another pyjama top. That's not vintage. That tag there is not vintage at all. And that, I'm not sure where that's made for or who it's made for. But again, not worth it. These next 2 t-shirts explain themselves. Not vintage, rubbish. Also not vintage, although it looks nice. Open it up inside and it's again 2022, so not vintage at all. So that's it for the Disney t-shirts. With this entire bundle of 30 t-shirts, only 2 of them are actually vintage and probably worth selling. Most of those were Primark or just print on t-shirts from the last 2 years. I'm going to return those back because I'm really not happy with spending £180 on those items. I'm probably going to lose money if I was to try and sell all those. The 2 t-shirts that I could actually sell are probably going to get me £20 each anyway. So if I took those 2 t-shirts 20 quid, that leaves with a £140 deficit. I've got to try and shift 28 printed t-shirts that probably cost less than that brand new. So that's going to be going back. I've got the jumpers in here, so I'm hoping these jumpers are going to be good. These jumpers are £250. So again, hopefully this sort of works itself out, because if not, it's all going to go back. First up, we have a vintage starter jumper, size 3XL. It's not terrible. There's maybe £10 sort of range, 15 at a push. Not terrible, but not great and not really vintage. This one's not too bad. A nice Levi's jumper, size extra large. It's really nice condition actually. That one's all right. Maybe 15, 20 quid on this one. So not bad, but I've got bad hopes for the rest of the box. This is a classic vintage jumper that you sort of get in these boxes. It's a State College champion jumper. Let's say Carroll College Pioneers. That is vintage champion, so that's a vintage jumper, 10, 15 quid. This one, again, the champion jumper, a college one. I'm not too sure where that's from. It's not vintage, it's definitely new age. You can tell by that tag. But it's a size 2XL. That is really nice, to be fair. But again, only about 15 quid at a push. This one's quite nice. I wouldn't class this as a jumper. It's more of a t-shirt. But it's this vintage Green Bay Packers long sleeve top. It's definitely not a jumper, I think. It might be. It just was a bit thin for a jumper. But either way, that's really nice. That's probably £30, to be fair. That's a bit of saving grace for the jumper bundle anyway. And just beneath that, we have another Green Bay Packers jumper. However, it's just NFL team apparel, which were Primark. So if I open that up, the inside label, it doesn't say Primark, but I know NFL team apparel did sell in Primark. It all sell at Sports Direct. So that's not vintage at all. I might be able to get a tenner for it. Hopefully the rest of the box isn't got this sort of stuff in it, because if it is, it's all going to go back. But so far, those first three jumpers have been pretty good. Okay, this is a vintage jumper. A vintage Louisville or St. Louis Rams jumper on a Lee tag. That's definitely vintage, as you can see there. 15, 20 quid on that one. So that's not too bad, actually. That's quite a nice jumper. It's really good condition, and that is vintage. So that's what I paid for. Another actual vintage Packers jumper. Again, NFL, proper official merch. This one looks to be 90s, early 2000s. It's nice sort of V-neck style. Again, 25, 30. So that one's decent. That makes up for the previous one. But looking at this box, it doesn't look too good from this point onwards. Let's hope it is. So the next one is a standard Puma jumper. This is, to be fair, vintage. That's, I think, the early 2000s, that black tag. So maybe 15 at a push. Not terrible, but not great. Now, this is a tag I've never seen before on a Champion jumper. It's green on the inside, but it's this nice Western Michigan college jumper again. Champion, 15, £20 sort of range on these ones. So not too bad, but not amazing. So next up is actually a really nice Champion jumper. I've got to say, this is quite nice. Hartford Whalers Hockey, NHL. It's got Champion down the sleeve, and it's reverse weave as well. I'm not sure how well this comes up on camera, but that's actually quite nice. That's probably a £20, £25 because of the condition, and it's reverse weave. That's not bad at all. This box seems very NFL heavy, at least this side anyway. Another vintage Packers jumper. This one's really nice. This is true vintage. It's on a Lee tag, as you can see there. I think it's a size large or extra large. Heavyweight cotton, in very good condition as well. So that's brilliant. That's really nice. That's definitely a good £25, £30. So a few Packers jumpers so far, not bad. But then beneath that, we have a standard Champion jumper. This one's not vintage. It's fairly new. There's a few marks down it. On the sleeves down here, they're a bit brown. I don't know where it comes on camera, but they should be able to wash out. These are grade A, so grade A on their website, as the terms of conditions say here, is marks that should be washable. Obviously they might not be, they say should to cover themselves, but even so, for that one, £10, £12 at a push. This jumper I'm a bit undecided on. It's a very bright colour. It's a Tommy Hilfiger jumper. It's yellow, size 2XL. It's definitely not vintage. It's definitely new age, but it's in good condition. There's no marks in it at all anywhere. It's a nice big size. Spell out some really good condition. There's nice embroidered badge on the front as well. If I was to sell this, I'll get £20, £25. It's just the colour's a bit bright, but even so, that's a good jumper. And at the bottom of that half of the jumpers, again, is just another standard Champion jumper. This one's a size small, so not vintage because that tag, but even so, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's a £10, £15 jumper. Now to the last half of the box. First up is this Calvin Klein jumper. It's not too bad. The print is a bit cracked on the front, as you can see. It's definitely not vintage, but probably 15, 20 quid for this one. These look all right, to be fair, but not the best, not vintage. This box is definitely Packers heavy. Another Packers jumper, again, vintage on a Lee tag, men's size medium. A really nice print on it as well. That's really nice. Massive print. I think it's a Super Bowl as well, actually. Sunday, January 26th, 1997, Super Bowl, New Orleans, Louisiana Superdome. It looks like it's got some marks down the front. I'm not sure if that's the print. It doesn't look like it. So that'll have to try and be washed out. But even so, you can't particularly tell, I don't think, too much that it isn't part of the print. So if I can get that washed out properly, £20, £25 for that one. Now, I'm not sure how well this brand will probably do. I've tried saying Nautica a few times before. I don't think this will sell too well. It's definitely not vintage anyway. Bit of a hideous colour, in my opinion, a pattern, but it might be someone out there who wants that 15 quid sort of range. Next up is an Adidas Cardinals. I don't know what the Cardinals are. I think it's baseball by the looks of things. Yeah, baseball. is slightly vintage. It's got a white tag. I'll try and find the age in it, but there's a couple of marks just on the front of the neck there. There might be an age indication on the inside of this. It's got this tag, which usually means it's older. I can't find the age. Usually on Adidas t-shirts, jumpers, shoes, they'll have a little tag that'll say the year it was made and the month it was produced, but I can't find that in here at the moment. If I can get that washed, £10–15. Next up is another Adidas jumper. This one is Buckhorn Baseball, so I'm guessing a college one, not vintage at all. That white tag is fairly new age. Literally the bottom of it says 2020, so that's not vintage. That's only 4 years old, so not too happy with that one, but either way, 15 quid. Another bog standard Champion jumper. This one again is not vintage, size 2XL. It's got quite a lot of marks on the front of it, this one, to be fair. That one's definitely going to need a wash before selling, but again, 10–15 quid. This one, another starter one. As you can see with this little logo on it. I think there's a logo on it, just there on the left. This one was a size 2XL heavyweight. Again, £10–15. So this is vintage. This is a really nice Champion jumper. I don't know what college that is or team that is, but it's a vintage Champion. You can tell by the tag, and it's a XXL reverse weave, so great size, and reverse weave is better cotton. Again, 15–20 quid, maybe 25 on this one. There's only a couple of jumpers left, so let's hope the rest are decent. If not, I think this all might be going back. So this jumper, not even vintage at all. Just a basic red Nike crew neck on a black tag. I think this black tag's been in since like 2018, so this is not any older than 6 years. Very basic, bright red colour. 15 at a very high push. I might be lucky to get a 10, to be honest. Not very happy with that one. And then lastly is this jumper. Now I have no idea what this is at all, but it's got paint all over the front of it. I don't know how well you can see that down there, but that's a massive paint mark, like brushed right in. There's paint down the bottom, there's paint in the middle, paint down the sleeves, massive paint down there on the sleeves as well. Now, although that is Champion and reverse weave, the condition of that is not grade A. That's covered in paint. Unless this is some sort of like absolute grail piece and I have just no idea about it. GDB, GD3, I have no idea what that is. So out of all of this stuff, the Packers jumpers are the best ones. And there's 5 of those, and one of them is just a basic print on one. I think, in all honesty, I'm going to send it all back. Now, the jumpers definitely can make a markup on. A few of them are good. The Packers ones are nice. As I said, the Calvin Klein's nice. And the Champion ones are okay. However, it's the other ones that make it fall short. The stuff that's not vintage. This jumper, that's definitely not grade A at all, covered in paint. It's a tough one. I'm a bit of a loss of what to do, really. If anything, the Disney t-shirts are definitely going back. Nothing of them is vintage except for 2 of them. The rest are just print on t-shirts. That's not what I expected at all. I think if you're spending £180 on 30 t-shirts, it's £6 a piece. You shouldn't be getting Primark, you shouldn't be getting Sainsbury's, you shouldn't be getting Tesco's print on t-shirts in there at all. I don't want people to experience this. If they're going to spend £180 and expect a return, I've not got £180 worth of t-shirts there to sell at that price, let alone a markup. So if that's not good, the jumpers, I'll give it to them. There's some great pieces in there, but it's the other ones that let them down. So I'm going to have to take a day or so to think about the jumpers, see what I can do with them, see if anything's worth saving, and if not, and I can't make much of a markup on £250 of jumpers, they're going back as well. So out of all these jumpers in here, the Green Bay Packers ones are sort of the only ones that save this entire bundle. But even so, the rest of them I don't think are very good quality. They're just basic print on Champions. I mean, that red Nike one in there is not vintage at all. So don't really know what to do. Now, I was sort of hoping this video would be really good and you guys would have had a really nice bundle to open and see and be really impressed with it. Obviously, I didn't tell the company I was going to film because I had a worry that if I said I'm going to do a video, they might have made the box really good and it made it look like I've got a great deal and then people go and buy and they expect good stuff and it's not there. Obviously, I don't think that would have been the case anyway. They probably would have sent that out as it is. But either way, This entire bundle cost me £423. If you take away the 180 quid for the Disney t-shirts, that leaves me with 250 for the jumpers. I think I'll be very, very lucky to see 250 back on those jumpers in total. Again, the jumpers, I'm going to take a couple of days to just see if I can get anything from them and see what ones they are and how much they're worth. But other than that, the Disney t-shirts are going straight back. They're not even going to touch the store. As I said, apart from those first couple that I showed that were really nice and actually vintage, the rest are just print-ons. Disney, Primark, Disney, Tesco's, Disney Sainsbury's. You can't really say that as a vintage company under vintage t-shirts. So I'm not very impressed. But let me know what you guys think. This video will make it out by Tuesday. I'm not very happy with Lima Lima Vintage. I'll give the credit to them. They put some vintage stuff in there, and the jumpers that they put in were vintage, but some of them weren't. So it's a bit of a balance of vintage and not vintage. So editing Matt here, a few days later. I just wanted to take a couple of days just to, you know, let things settle, just to get over it all. Just what a terrible experience. I mean, that is my experience. Obviously, the reviews, people say otherwise, but that's what I experienced in this box that I bought. So I just wanted to come on and just sort of explain some terms and conditions just to cover myself, because I've got correct grounds to send this back. So under the grading descriptions, it says, please note, we of course aim to grade out any item with flaws from a grade A mix. However, when grading large quantities of items, some can unfortunately slip through the process due to human error. We ask buyers to allow for the odd item to show wear. Understandable, it's absolutely fine. But I don't know how an item covered in paint has just got through when it's a black jumper with white paint. And considering they pre-pack their boxes, as said in the website, as you would have seen in the previous photo I put in, I don't know how that's just allowed to go in with paint on. Because, I mean, I know it's human error, I fully understand that. But grade A to something covered in paint, massive difference. And then in the what to expect in our boxes section, it says, although we aim to make sure every item in every box is vintage, some boxes may contain a mix of both modern and vintage items. Now, seeing that does make sense as to why I got a black tag Nike jumper for, and some newer age jumpers in like jumper bundle, but still you're paying and you're saying it's vintage when it's not vintage. So I don't know how that's okay to do that. And then looking just at the Disney t-shirts alone, I think, as I said, 2 of those t-shirts were actually vintage and the rest of them were just modern. So I understand it might be a mix. If you got 15 exactly, you know, half vintage and half a modern, fine. But even so, a modern t-shirt, you can't be selling Primark, you can't be selling Sainsbury's or Tesco's second hand for £6. I wouldn't even get that much money for them online. I'm sure when we went to the shop and bought them at Tesco's brand new, you might have got a full pyjama set for £10, which would mean the top was £5, pyjamas are £5. Like, you can't be doing that, I think. Obviously, this is my experience, as I'm declaring now. This is not everyone's experience. I can't speak for everyone else. Some of the reviews are great, and I'm sure some people have found some amazing stuff in the bundles. However, my experience has not been good at all. The jumpers were not terrible. The package jumpers were quite nice. I thought they were pretty decent. Some of the champion ones are good, but a lot of them are just standard rubbish, not even vintage jumpers. Again, I know what it says here in their terms and conditions that not every item is going to be vintage, but when you're spending that amount of money and expecting vintage, or the majority to be vintage, then I don't really know what else I can do, to be honest. Also, apologies if I sound a bit banged up. I think I'm coming down with something. My nose is really stuffy and I just keep getting really hot at the moment, so that's not great add on to this stress. But I've got to send this box back ASAP, get this £423 back. I won't get the return or the refund for the shipping cost originally, which is £15, and I'm going to use Parcelforce to send it out because it's cheaper. I think it's like about 15 quid or £14 to send it with Parcelforce, so then I won't have to spend as much money to get it back. And they require photos or video evidence as to why the items aren't as they say. I have this video you guys are watching now, which I will submit if they need to. If not, I'll just take a photo of every item they've supplied with me. And also doing this video sort of helped understand, I think from their perspective, everything I've got is true because it's literally come out of the box and you guys have seen it. Hopefully you made it to the end. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this video. As I said previously, I thought it was going to be a great video and I would have had some great things to get listed and maybe got some good stuff and you guys could have got a good deal on it, but everything's going back because that's 55 items I could have spent my money on elsewhere and made money and actually got some good stuff. But instead, it's just sat in my garage at the moment waiting to go back. I've emailed them and I sent a message on Instagram on Friday, or emailed them Friday, sorry, and sent a message I think yesterday or today, whenever you're watching this video. Yet to hear back. I know I can just do a return, but I want to make sure first that I get everything right, and they fully understand why I'm returning it, and I can show the evidence, because they say you sort of need evidence to get the refund. But yeah, apologies guys, it wasn't that good. As I said, and I'll declare once more, this has been my experience. It might not be the same for you guys, and I'm sure it wasn't the same for anyone else. It might have been the same for other people, but I'm not going to say not buy from them. I'm not going to say to buy from them. I'm just saying this is my experience. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next week for hopefully another Cardboot video. If not, I'll try and magic some charity shop stuff out or something. We'll see what happens. But yeah, take care and see you in the next one.